Free the Animals, written by Ingrid Newkirk, brings up the controversial argument about animal testing. This biography is about a woman who becomes a part of the Animal Liberation Front activist group. Ingrid Newkirk takes us for a ride along with Valerie, the main character, and she participates in many raids to illegally remove animals from laboratories across America. Even though Ingrid Newkirk is the president of PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, and it's obvious she agrees with Valerie's actions and is fighting for the rights, she provides an unbiased description of this woman's story. Besides the author's note, there is no evidence to show that Ingrid Newkirk expressed her opinion in her biography. However, she does present a couple arguments, like I stated earlier. The bigger and more obvious one was that animal testing should be illegal. I myself agree. I do not believe in animal cruelty and abuse. I believe it should be stopped immediately. When I interviewed some of my peers, I noticed my results were half and half. All the women were against animal testing, but all the men were for it. One male believed that animals cannot feel pain, and because humans are superior, we have the right to do testing on animals. He also believes that animal testing is the reason for many of our technical and medical advances today. Another argument is that ALF activists are just to break the law in order to free animals. Once again, I do agree. If the government isn't paying any attention to abuse and cruelty towards these innocent creatures, it's up to us mere citizens to stop these wrongful acts. I had some mixed results with my interviewees. Half disagreed because they don't think that breaking the law is just in any way. One agreed and was all for it, and two didn't really care. In conclusion, animal cruelty is a big issue that should not be ignored, but no matter what, I feel it's always going to be a controversial subject.
In Generation Ecstasy, Reynolds analyzes that rape is the matrix of lifestyle, and that the rape culture is what you make of it. Rape is also criticized heavily by the general public because it is meant to be universal in the form of sound than what a single person is saying with music in the background. It also constructs an experience and creates an experience. According to Reynolds throughout the book, Reynolds claims that rape culture has no goal beyond its own propagation, yet rape can tend to be a victim of its own success. As a rapper myself, I agree with you that rape is simply a way of life and a way of style. No matter different opinion, rape will still always be a matrix of lifestyle, complete with its own morals, culture, freedom, and values.
In the book, The Real Truth About Teens and Sex by Sabrina Will, she's basically talking about what American teens today are thinking, doing, and talking about. And throughout the book, she's basically giving advice to parents about how they can stay connected with their teen and get their teens to open up and talk to them about their sexuality. And the main point for her, basically, of course, is communication, that if teens and parents have good communication and a strong relationship, then teens, therefore, will, in the end, be able to make smarter decisions when it comes to sex. And that parents also need to keep their information up to date and continue to make an effort to stay in their teens' lives, because as teens grow older and evolve, they're going to have more questions. And if you keep that connection, then they're going to continue to make smarter choices.
The book, Just Like Us, written by Helen Thorpe, takes a revealing look at the life-planning effects of growing up undocumented in America. Helen Thorpe measures the arguments on both sides of this national debate, the actual human cost imposed by the status quo. This book will find its central place in the debate. The author presents both a fair and personal examination of the passions that fuel the immigration controversy in this country. Helen Thorpe is actually married to the mayor of Denver, where this story actually takes place, and she focuses on 4 Mexican-American girls getting ready to graduate from high school. 2 of the 4 girls are illegal and are unable to go to college or secure any type of funding. All 4 girls qualify academically to be admitted into college or university, but only 2 of them qualify for financial aid. While all this is going on, the governor brings up the issue of immigration and wants all illegals gone from Colorado. The governor holds several debates opposing any type of amnesty for illegal immigrants, and at the same time, those who are in favor of amnesty try to revive the DREAM Act. The author explains that the U.S. Congressman Tancredo is opposed to any type of immigration reform. His quick fix solution is to seal the borders with Mexico and deport every undocumented person. This, of course, is a very unrealistic way of thinking. He does not believe in providing any aid to students who lack any type of legal documentation. He believes that everybody should be deported along with their parents. In conclusion, all 4 girls accomplished their goal of graduating from college, and 6 years later, nothing has changed in the world of immigration.
The book I reviewed is Charlie Wilson's War by George Cryle. It's a nonfiction historical true story, and it takes place during the time when the Soviets invaded Afghanistan. This story basically tells what Charlie Wilson and his team did to help the Mujahideen, who were the underdogs, fighting off the Soviet army. The central argument that comes out of this story is that it is the key to understanding the 2 events of the sudden collapse of the Soviet Union and the rise of militant Islam. But also from this, you can also draw that what would history be like without Charlie Wilson's actions? And many would say that it would be radically different. In fact, the actions that he did was just one set of a domino effect, one part of history that led to the collapse of the Soviet Union, and had unforeseen consequences for the United States and Western civilization, which is the rise of militant Islam. Some people say it could have been avoided, and others say it couldn't. But in reality, unforeseen consequences such as this just happens after a mission accomplished that he did. What I liked about the story is that the author really draws a human element to it. It brings emotion to the characters, what they were thinking during the planning, what they were thinking as they were carrying this out, and what they were thinking after everything was finished. Of course, what's important about this is the relativity to modern society and history. And what I liked is that it sheds a lot of light on a part of history that is really unknown, and we can draw a lot of conclusions and more stuff about this.
In the book, The Great Influenza by John M. Barry depicts the history of the flu and the effects of the press on the world. Barry insists on scaring people into believing that the flu is dangerous and that people need to be aware of the side effects of the flu. He claims that no one is safe from the mutating virus and that everyone needs to practice safety precautions. Barry also believes that people do not know of the flu because it was being censored in the media. He says that fear broke out along with the flu only because the people had no idea what was killing them off. The fear of the flu basically added to the torture of humans along with the flu.